Hey, so welcome to today's free mini lesson, which is designed to give you a taster and an overview of what we'll be covering in lesson two. And the program is how to really get unstuck and step into your power in 10 days. And the way that I've broken it down is that it's really providing 10 steps to be able to find a way to do that. To so many of us are feeling stuck, frustrated, overwhelmed, and there's such a need to really look at it and focus on it and have this conversation. So many women are burning out at the moment, and I've been a casualty of that. I've been at the sharp end of that. Um, the experiences that I've had over the last couple of years, they've been really hard. I was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years ago. Um, Less than 6 months later, my mum passed away, and then last year I went through burnout. And when I went through all of that, it it was so disempowering. It was so hard, and for me, there was also the kind of context of how in my job it had been highly stressful, highly demanding, and it meant that there was just too much on my plate, that there was too much expectation and responsibility placed on my shoulders alone. And it just wasn't sustainable. I thought that it was. I honestly thought that I could just bend to all of it. I would just continue to take it on. I felt like that was part of my identity as essentially as a working mum, like to be able to say, look, I can do all of these things. You don't have to worry. I've got it. I'm in control. It was definitely part of my identity. And it was a shock to me that I couldn't just control it psychologically. Like I spent a lot of time trying to what I was doing was I was trying to manage chronic stress through exercise. So it was a response to the ongoing pressures and stress that I was feeling. But there was no way that I was going to be able to address those issues of about chronic stress unless I addressed the cause. And the cause of the chronic stress was the unreasonable demands that were placed on me by my work. And that was internally in the organization, but it was also to do with the sector, which I've talked about a bit before, like the crazy expectations for the sector of predominantly, majority female workforce supporting survivors of domestic abuse, and there are not enough resources, there's not enough interest, there's not enough support from government. And even if you stick it out and you stay in that role for long enough, you'll never get to the top because the men have the top jobs. And it's not people that actually work front line that get the top jobs. It will be somebody who used to be a journalist or they worked for the Home Office. Anyway, the point is, it's a load of crap. So the only way to deal with it is to recognize what you have control over. And that's what happened to me. I was kind of in denial about how much I could take on. It's called your allostatic load, which is essentially the tray of things that you have to carry. And that just got bigger and bigger until I broke. And what you don't appreciate until you go through burnout is the link between your mental health and your physical health. I mean, my experience of grief, breast cancer, and burnout, all of those experiences have just demonstrated to me how there is no division between mental and physical health. There just isn't. If you go through grief, it's physical as well as mental and emotional. If you go through breast cancer, you kind of expect I'll just physically get through it and then I'll be fine. But there's obviously a psychological element to it as well. I mean, things that I thought I could control or compartmentalize, I could not, and then I broke. So it means that I've got this really, what I feel is a really unique and helpful perspective into the process of being able to move through these feelings of being stuck and stepping into a, a, a space and a kind of presence of power. And that is absolutely how I feel now. I can honestly say that I feel that I have completely stepped into my own power. And I'm going to break down for you the reasons why in this training. But essentially, what it's come down to is for me to tune into my ability to be myself. I have made the decision to actively take care of myself. I've taken the decision that I'm going to be 100% myself any day of the week. If you, I said before, if you, for example, think that Donald Trump is a cool dude, then let's just be clear from the start. We're not going to get on. So there's no point in us having any further conversation. And that's me now. I'm just going to be real. I'm just going to tell you how it is. When I was in my job before, it's very important. Oh, you mustn't be political. You mustn't get involved. The second I left that job, I was slagging off the government left, right, and centre because I had had enough. And the feeling, the process of holding all of that rage and that anger and that resentment, you know, that that rage is burning and then you burn out. It's not a kind of coincidence of language. There's so much pressure, there's so much resentment. You can't take any more, you burn out. So my learning is around I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to put myself first. I am going to 100% be myself and I'm going to live in a way that has meaning and purpose for me. And so I have become an architect of my own life, my own reality. And that goes beyond my career choice. That also comes down to how I want to parent my children, how I want to be part of my community, how I want all of my relationships to look, how I'm going to advocate for myself. It goes on and it isn't compartmentalized to any area of my life. It's me. I'm being me, I'm taking care of me, and I am living with purpose. So coming back to a bit more of the detail around today's lesson and what you can expect, this is the lesson on zooming out, which is really the process of some of the skills and tools that you can use to switch up your perspective during the day. So from things to like little exercises you could do if you work from home or you work at a desk, how you can zoom out visually and do that. I'll talk more about that in the lesson. To the idea of ways that you can switch up your perspective each day is quite often a physical switch up. It's quite often just saying yes to new opportunities. So it is things like, I'll go into this in more detail, but essentially after my breast cancer diagnosis, I just decided I was gonna say yes to more things. Like, we live in London and you just never people who live in London, we just never go and explore and do stuff. We've got so much on our doorstep, but we just never do it. So every time I saw a poster or an event that I was interested in, I was going to look into whether that was something that we could go to. And it's really meant that you physically switch up your perspective by physically being somewhere else, but you naturally open up to other realities, other possibilities. And so it's not necessarily something you've got to kind of think, oh, I've got to just step out of my own I've got to get out of my own head. It's the gentle process of, it's really supporting curiosity and opening yourself up to new opportunities and possibilities that give you the sense of creating a vision. And that's what I'm getting to. It's that, what is your vision for how you spend your time and where you spend your time as well. So having clarity on that gives you an idea of what you're aiming for. And that's what I'm talking about in more detail. So I'm going to leave it there as today's free kind of taster for what to expect. But there's more detail in the lesson and exercises that you can refer to as well. So I hope you find it useful. Okay, take care. Thanks. Bye.